How's it going? This is December. What is it? December 7th, um, 2022. Um, Today I'm going to talk about Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones and the recent interview that was done with Alex Jones and Steven Crowder. Now, this is very interesting what has gone down since my last video, or my last, my last video, right? With Nick Fuentes and Kanye West, or as he likes to be called, or the formerly named Kanye, now it's Ye, right? Um, I think that it's interesting because at first I was very skeptical of what was going on. Not so much on Fuentes' part, but on Kanye's part, right? I thought this was just Kanye is kind of a guy who likes to shock. He's kind of a shock jock in a way. He likes to be in the spotlight. This is how he maintains kind of clout and I wouldn't say infamy, but all, like they say, all publicity is good publicity. So he understands that very well. So that's what I saw in this. I just saw, him doing, the thing that he always does, basically. He's known for, in a way. Other than his music. Because, of course, his music is very... What gives Kanye his power, let's say, over people, eyes and ears of the people, is his music. He was very popular, and is, to a certain extent, still is a very popular hip-hop musician, right? And in a way, that gives him power over people that have power in society, especially people who don't have any real talent. The only talent they have is controlling other people, right? So this becomes a geopolitical thing, kind of a device of geopolitics, because a group of people, an ethno group, or just doesn't have to be an ethno group, just a political elite, let's say, they don't necessarily get their power from any type of talent or anything they do specifically for other people or something that people consume, but they get their power from understanding how to manipulate people, all right, or emphasizing their place in society, just like they're nobles, or if they're like some sort of elite, and so this is the case with any elite, right? So with Kanye, the difference is that he gets his power from his archive, right? His talent for music, and the people that the audience he's gathered from that music, right? And so in this case, I was very skeptical, because even though Kanye is I'm going to call him Kanye. I owe no respect to anybody. So this makes it very clear. I owe no respect to anybody. I don't care what they're doing, because I don't know what anybody's true intentions are. So I know him as Kanye. People want to call him as Ye, great. You want to call him Kanye, great. I don't care. And I'm not under control of Kanye. But what I will say is this. I have actually gained some respect for him. My view of him has changed because of what I've seen the past 2 weeks, I guess, right? I was skeptical at first, but I like what Nick says. I like what Nick Fuentes says. I think there's a lot of truth to what he says. And I think a lot of people, even people who say things like me, where they'll say stuff like, well, I think Nick has a lot of, speaks a lot of truth. But, they'll say, but. I'm not one of those people, because I look at these people on the media and what they're doing. I'm going to get to that very shortly. When people say stuff like I am, they usually mean is that I understand I have an audience that likes Nick Fuentes, and I don't want to lose that audience. But, you know, I'm not that person. I don't give a shit who you like. It's irrelevant to me. I actually do like what Nick Fuentes says. A lot of stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff he says. And even the stuff that I don't like, I know where it's coming from. I understand what he's trying to do. So because of that, I'm not trying to pervert, let's say, or to engineer another narrative out of what he's doing, which is what I think Alex Jones is doing. I'm going to explain to you why Jones is a fraud. I'm going to explain to you how he is a grifter. I don't know if he's always been a grifter. I don't know if he's always been a fraud, but I know that's what he is right now. Because, like I said, I did not understand what Kanye was doing at first. At least I didn't completely get it until I started to really, think about what was going on. So he goes on these shows, and he says, I believe he said something like, I love the Nazis, and I love Hitler. Now, that statement on its own, the way the narrative that everybody's been indoctrinated in, and everybody's been indoctrinated in our society to believe that if you utter those words, I love Nazis, I love Hitler, that must mean that you are a Nazi. That must mean that you agree with everything that Hitler did in the 1940s in Germany, right? But in fact, that could mean different things. And in the case of Kanye West, if you open your eyes and you open your ears, you can understand that what he's trying to say, it's plain and simple. It's right in front of you. But you have to go beyond I hate to say the matrix, because that's like that example is always abused, right? You got to go beyond the narrative and the indoctrination that you've received since all your life. And that indoctrination is based on one thing. It's based on one single thing. It's actually very, very simple. That is, the Holocaust happened. It was very bad. And it was very bad not because Hitler killed millions of people. It's very bad because Hitler killed a certain group of people. That's why you're told the Holocaust is bad all the time. And you're told about one Holocaust. And you're told about one genocide. And why Holocaust and genocide are something that you must repudiate with all your might. And it must be the center of your conversation. And it must dominate everything you do in the political realm. Actually, in everything. Even in sex. Even in your daily lives and your opinions about almost everything. It must dominate everything. It must. The reason why, it's very simple. And that reason is because in order for a group of people to have power over you and how you think and what you do, and even how the direction of your country, you must believe in this one staple that they're trying to believe, have in your head, that Holocaust specifically to the Jews is very, very bad. And because it's very, very bad, it must dictate everything you do, all your opinions and what you do in life. That's what's happening in the West. That is how everybody thinks. And it is really the final pillar of freedom of speech, meaning that the only way you're going to have freedom of speech is if that pillar is destroyed. And that pillar is, the Holocaust is bad because Jews were killed in the Holocaust. That is the pillar. And so you might disagree with me. You might have a problem with what I'm saying. It might make you triggered. It might trigger you, what I'm telling you. And I understand that. And maybe you have a good comeback and argument against what I'm saying. And that's fine. But at least try to understand that for some people like me and other people, it makes what Kanye West is doing makes sense. And in our opinion, it's not Nazism, and it's not trying to create a Nazi party, because everything you think, the person that thinks that Kanye is a Nazi and that Kanye is trying to be sympathetic, well, he is trying, I guess, sort of, it kind of comes off as sympathetic to Hitler, but people who say that he is a trying to advocate for Hitler, I guess that would be the best way to say it. Those people, they everything, the way they see everything is based on this idea, this staple of Western civilization in modern times, that is, the Nazis are the worst evil ever, and that genocide and the Holocaust were bad, not because people were killed in it, but because Jews specifically were killed in it. That is actually what most Americans believe. That is what most Europeans believe. That is what you're indoctrinated to believe. And so when Kanye West says, I love all people, I love Nazis, I love Hitler, I love the Black Panthers, I love Jews, I love Christians, I love Jews, I love Muslims, I love everybody, what he's basically saying is we should treat everybody equally. And what he's basically, the reason why he, according to his words, of course, I don't know his true intentions or anything. I'm going to be honest, right? This is the way I understand what he's doing. When he says that Jews have cheated him and Jews have cheated him of his of profits, and they have worked against blacks, basically to cheat blacks and to steal from blacks. And he's seen this with his own eyes. It's his personal experience. That's where I think it's coming from. Where he's saying is basically, I want black people to be in charge of their own affairs. I want black people to be in charge of their own money. And he even said it kind of that, if anything, he wants blacks to be like the Jews. He wants blacks to have the same power as the Jews. In other words, Jewish people have privilege, and he wants blacks to have privilege. So he wants a kind of equality. And then he further, you might say, well, he wants black supremacy. Maybe he does. I don't know. But later on, he kind of, when you see more interviews, the one with Jones or the one with McGinnis, what you're starting to see is that, in fact, what he wants is equality. He wants everybody to be on equal footing, or, that's what he says, and what he really wants is blacks to have power. So either one of these two is interesting, because either one of these two, what he's doing is he's exposing the reality of our civilization. That is built in modern times, is built in current times, especially after World War II. It's built on this whole idea, this whole theater, political theater, that is, or narrative, that is, Hitler's the worst evil ever, and he's evil not because he committed genocide or the Holocaust. He's evil because he targeted the Jews. And you're not allowed to target the Jews in any way or any shape. And if you do, then you're a very evil person. You are a Nazi yourself. If you question the Jews, you're a Nazi yourself. And if you question the place that Jews are in society, you are also a Nazi, or you're Hitler yourself, or whatever, right? And if you don't allow Jews to have a certain amount of power over you, that's because you're a Nazi and you're Hitler yourself. And if you question the Jewish power, and you question why Jews have so much power in society, disproportional amount of power, then you are yourself a Nazi and you are Hitler. So you see, it's all the same narrative.